But in a season, unfortunately, where there's been too many disappointments, was that a big blow today?
Yeah, every time when it happens, it feels as if it's the biggest blow. So when it happened against Wolves, it felt this is the biggest blow of the season, and now it happens again. So again, in the last minute, again an opportunity to score afterwards ourselves, which we didn't do, and then we leave the pitch with a disappointing result.
Is perhaps the biggest frustration is that so many of the failings we saw today, particularly conceding late, are failings we've seen throughout the season. They're too familiar. They're being repeated too many times.
Yeah, although the way we concede is not always the same in the last minute, so you cannot compare the deflected shot against Wolves with the one we conceded today, or the 30-yard shot against Fulham in the top corner. So it's different in the way we concede, but the same thing is that we constantly, or mainly if we drop points, concede goals either in extra time or as today in the last minute.
Were you concerned in the, 20, 30 minutes even before the goal that it had started to get too open, too much like a basketball match? No,
it was clear that that was the most equal part of the game. So before that, I think we were the better team. Got some good chances. The goal we scored wasn't our biggest chance, although when Dominic is behind the ball in that position, it becomes a big chance at the moment. But we had better chances than that to score from. But as so many times this season, we weren't able to do so. And the way we conceded our chances throughout the whole game was quite similar. I think the 4 or 5 difficult moments we had all came from long ball, second ball. It wasn't as if we were too open and they played through us. After us pressing high, it was us being behind the ball. They kicked the ball long, not able to clear the ball far enough, or the ball fell to them. And that was already 2 minutes before halftime, which was their first chance coming from that. And that was also the way they scored. So. But indeed, the last 20 minutes, we were a lot of times in counter-attacks or when they were maybe open. 3 versus 2, 4 versus 3s, 2 against 1, 1 against 0. But as I said, not able to score from those moments. And then, as this season is going, it's not a complete surprise that we are conceding in the last minute.
So if we kind of, for a second, take away the result, what's your overall feeling about the performance? I know it's difficult straight after the game.
Yeah, I don't think in football you should ever take out the result, because the result is all that matters, and the result usually gives you a better or a more negative feeling about the performance. But it's clear that there were a few things positive today. If you look at the great goal we scored with Dominic, if you look at the performance of Rio for a 17-year-old, if you look at the chances we've created, but we are never able to outscore the amount of chances we have. So it's always, you expect more goals than we are creating, but it's also completely clear that there are parts of our game where we definitely need to improve, and that's also why we're in this position, because not everything, actually a lot of things are not perfect, and as a result of that, we're not able to win or to get as many points as we want to.
On that positive of Rio and Gamoa, has he given you real food for thought, a decision to make for the Champions League in midweek in terms of maybe starting him there?
I think I said 2 months ago that he progressed so well as a, first of all, 16-year-old when he joined us, and now 17, that he progressed so well that he gets more and more playing time, and he started already a few times, and it was his first Premier League start. But performance like today will only help him to play more for this club.
And when you say a lot of things aren't perfect, I know you've been over this time and time again, been asked about it a million times. What is top of the to-do list in terms of things that can be fixed between now and midweek, or between now and the end of the season?
No, it's not always been the same, the things we have to improve, but during the week we conceded a set piece. That's something we did a lot this season. In general, we've conceded to pick up the amount of points this club and I'm used to. And of course, I think we are completely underperforming in terms of the chances we create and the amount of goals we score. And that's quite a surprise if you look at how much attacking quality we have. But But yeah, if you're not able to score, then or not score enough, then you have to be able to keep a clean sheet, and that's something we find really hard this season.
And lastly, there was some boos at full time, not the whole stadium, but I would say a fair chunk of it. Does that concern you that there is maybe a fair chunk of the fan base that's maybe losing a little bit of patience at the moment?
No, I think it's completely normal. If the team you are supporting so many times is dropping points against teams where you don't expect them to drop point against, if so many times this happens in the last second of a game, then I think we all feel a lot of frustration, and they definitely, because they've experienced this far too many times than they are used to, and then it's completely normal that they show their frustration, the frustration that is felt by me, by the players, and also by our fans. And I'm 100% sure that if they show up Wednesday, they will be supportive again from the start. But if the team doesn't perform to the standards they are used to, I think it's completely normal that they are frustrated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, the fans are frustrated, and Liverpool still find themselves, as you pointed out earlier, in what's probably going to be a Champions League qualification position in fifth place in the table. But there was a missed opportunity today to move on to 52 points and move into fourth. And potentially they could be further up the table. It's all ifs and buts. But for these late goals. Now, look, the games last as long as they last. So, and he said they're conceding late goals in lots of different ways, so you can't really draw a straight line through them. Do you think there is a connecting factor, Jamie?
Yeah, and I've just hoping their confidence to kill teams off. But once that starts to happen, you see in September, then you start to concede late, it gets into your mind. You start, it could happen again, and you sit back. Now, Roy mentioned something with the goal there. So if you have that problem and you are conceding late, then you say to your two fullbacks, listen, let's just get this 1-0. Let's get Szoboszlai in. Let's get Robertson in, and make sure we don't concede. But it was so easy, the goal. It was like a catalogue of mistakes. I actually said it, you could look at everything. You could look at Joe Gomez. Does he get dragged across too much? Does Virgil van Dijk, is he strong enough with Kolo Muani? Look, you see, he's covering there. Then Joe Gomez gets dragged across. Where's Szoboszlai? Just drag yourself in. Let's be difficult to beat. I know we want to play progressive, and I know you want to be on the front foot. And if we get the ball, then Szoboszlai maybe is out. But he's your right back. We're winning 1-0. It's the 90th minute. Get yourself back in. You can point to he's not a right back, he's a midfield player, but all these little things aren't good enough, and that's pretty much been indicative of Liverpool defensively. That shouldn't happen. It's such a scruffy, ugly goal. And that could be the difference between getting the Champions League and not.
It's a strange mix between what Arne has described as that kind of more considered style of football that he wants to play and panic. It seems that there's a strange mix of that going on at the moment. At times there is panic that is going on. And, Arne Slot just said there about, the counter-attacking towards the last 20 minutes. They were counter-attacking a lot. They had a lot of times that scored and get the second goal. Liverpool here, especially at Anfield, come across teams that come and play it and sit in a low block. So they must work on that and know, right, teams are going to come and sit in a low block. We're going to play counter-attacking football. The final pass has got to be a good one. There was far too many out there that the final pass was awful. It was pathetic. It was terrible, and you can't keep doing that. When you get them big opportunities where, Spurs were pushing forward to try and get a goal, there were spaces all over the pitch. Ekitike, Mo Salah. There were so many of them that kept on giving it away that, you was thinking Tottenham were going to score. And we were in the studio going, Tottenham were going to score here, and I think Tottenham felt that, and it's one of the things that Arne Slot's got a style of play here, and they said the fans were booing towards the end. Fans want to see front foot football. They want to see Liverpool blowing teams away. And when you've got the Tottenham team that come here that are fragile, they should have been able to do that. They should have definitely blown them away today, gone and got the second goal. If they had got it in the first half or come out in the second half and got that, it would have been a total different case, but they weren't able to do that. And like I say, the inconsistency that's going on is far too much this season, conceding late goals. It's going to be a disappointment this season, and it needs to be fixed soon rather than later. I mean, that front foot football was something that Liverpool played at 100 miles an hour under Jurgen Klopp, and it's something that these supporters were used to seeing. Is there an issue in terms of comparison? Because the idea was that Arne Slot was going to come in and slow things down is maybe the wrong expression to use, but steady things in order that Liverpool could manage seasons better, manage injuries better, manage the kind of load on the players better. Is there an issue with comparison?
Oh, well, it's great to have a plan, isn't it? The reality is different when you go out and play football matches. And Ashley mentioned there about Spurs being fragile. I think Liverpool look fragile. I think they're fragile. They have different challenges trying to get in the Champions League. And listen, they still might have a good season regarding the cup competitions. But when they were 1-0 up today, and when the game became open, if you're the Liverpool manager, you see the game getting open, you go, that suits us as well. Don't worry, we can get at these. And they did have opportunities. And the games I'm watching, they're getting to positions. And he's obviously an experienced manager. And his points were there even. The opportunities they had to kind of finish Spurs off, and they're not taking it. So every team knows the longer the game goes on, as long as there's only a goal in it, they've got great encouragement. Like for a team like Spurs, who are fragile and who were on a bad run, their belief was growing in the game, going, I think we have a chance here. And obviously they produced at the end, even as from a long ball. And we're talking about players getting in position and players in the wrong positions. But to me, that's just common sense and experienced players to say, we'll shut up shop, we'll take the 1-0 win. But they're conceding so many goals. And considering they were league champions last year, and I've said it before and I've said it a number of times, Liverpool are bad champions. They've been bad champions. They were bad champions a few years ago. They're now 21 points behind Arsenal. Like, what a drop-off that is. That is so bad. So I think there's issues going on in the background. I think there's bigger issues. There's details there you can fix. Obviously, you're talking about players tucking in, but I think there's stuff going on there. I don't know if they're all on the same page. It doesn't seem that chemistry with the players. You're on about when you win big titles sometimes. The big challenge is the following year. Can you back it up? And I think these players...
Is that not just something that Manchester City... I mean, it's difficult to go and retain a title, but Manchester City...
It's very hard to retain. Yeah, you can obviously have a drop-off, but City have dropped off recently in terms of their high standards, but they're still competing second or third. They're not 20, 30 points behind the team who's winning the league. That's a drop-off. But for Liverpool to be so far off it, that's like last year they conceded, they lost 4 games. They've lost 9 already this year. You're going, that is... I find it hard to get my head around that.
After they'd won the league.
Yeah, of course, but they're just slacking off a little bit. They switched off, of course. And it's almost that mentality. Last year, I was critical of Liverpool towards last year, or even towards the end when they were like, I felt they were almost partying too much. And they were partying with 4, 5, 6 weeks to go, and the fans, and there was celebration after every home game. You're going, you're a Liverpool Football Club, I know it's... But you're not, but let me finish. You're not expected to win league titles. So when you do win a league title, you go, don't worry, they're planning for us in our dressing room. We go, yeah, enjoy it, don't get me wrong. But let's back it up next year. That's why you're playing for the big club. So when I see these teams win a trophy and then disappear for 10 or 15 years, I'm like... And I'll be thinking the same at Arsenal. When Arsenal win the league this year, you don't want Arsenal to disappear for the next 3, 4, 5 years. You go, you've got to back it up. Or don't be 20, 30 points behind the top team next year. You've got to compete. That's your challenge. And when you're giving up goals like that, or whether about Wolves recently, or even the goal against the game against Man City, I look at this group of players and their mentality and their work rate and their desire, what they do on training pitch, and I don't like what I see with this Liverpool group. I just don't like it. It's just as if they're on about, we're giving up late goals. Yeah, that's down to yourselves. That's your desire when the ball comes in the box. Was it done Bournemouth not long ago? When the ball comes in the box, go and head the ball.
Like last minute.
Oh, well, it wasn't our day. We got injuries. No, you've got stuff, enough quality on the pitch. You've got yourself in a good position, like you did last year, by the way, when you had that hunger to go and win league titles. And again, they won a lot of games where the manager was concerned last year because they only won so many games by the odd goal. But no, this fight and desire that I see in this group today, especially in the last 5 minutes, because these are big football games about moments, and Liverpool are getting so many moments wrong at the moment. Is that down to work rate, desire, a bit of fire in your belly? I think a lot of it is.
To put it bluntly, is that just a huge disappointment?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What happened with the performance?
I don't know, to be honest. Really, nothing to say. Again, in the last minute, I don't know how many times happened in the season already. Really, I don't know what to say. We have to wake up.
You just feel so flat stood here now.
Because I am. Because at the end, we have to, as I say, we have to wake up because it's 9 games to go. I really don't know. And if we keep going like this, next season we should be happy if we play Conference League.
Why do you think it keeps happening?
I don't know. If I would know the answer, then probably I would tell the guys and we will change it. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
is a huge part of the frustration that a lot of the failings are familiar. They seem to happen week after week. The late goals being a key example, the play getting a bit slow being another example.
Well, I think in the first half we played very well. We controlled the whole game. I guess they hardly created any chance. Maybe they had one or two headers, but I think we were under control. And second half seems that we go out and I don't know. We just don't do the same things like in the first half, and the question is why. But probably we'll sit down together. And this is the most difficult time, but we have to stick to that. We have to stick together.
The boos from the supporters at full time, rare at this place, really hurt to hear. I didn't hear the boos, but obviously we can understand them, because last season we became champion, and this season we are not performing in a way that we should be. But I think they should stand behind us, because last season when we are champions, 4 games before the end, everybody was happy. So support us now when we are in difficult time. Can you wake up in time? It's still there to qualify for the Champions League, and of course this season's Champions League with the game you have in midweek.
Of course, there's always, not always time, but there is still time to show how much we want. We have to stay together. We have to fight for each other. We have to fight for the club, because everybody want to play Champions League next season.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jamie, significant that he used the phrase "wake up" about the performances, when the phrase that's been used here and in commentary was sleepwalking about Liverpool's defence in particular.
Yeah, defence. Also, I think from an attacking point of view, Kelly, they go 1-0 up and you're thinking if they just put the foot on the gas, they could win this game comfortably, 2-3. Even the subs that come on, Nekatike's been magnificent this year, but he came on, he didn't show any real desire or energy to make something happen, get himself a goal. I think that epitomised the performance. Salah come on, done a few bits, but he looks like he hasn't got the pace that he had last year, the goals that he had last year. Everything just seems missing in the energy in midfield. And defensively, when you look at that goal, I think it epitomises Liverpool defensively all season. You know, individual mistakes, not strong enough winning a second ball. And then when you concede a goal like that, when you should be thinking, right, no matter what happens here, if we don't win 2 or 3-0, we make sure we win 1-0. And I think that was just too easy from Tottenham's point of view to get that last goal. And they have to be careful, but they're still right in the Champions League race. Make no mistake. You know, look at Chelsea. There's no one with really any momentum apart from Manchester United, who had a great result today. You know, Chelsea, like they've got that momentum. Aston Villa are struggling. So all they have to do is find a little bit of form. They're certainly not out of this top 4, top 5 race, but they have to win games like today for sure.
Yeah, there's a few teams that are sort of limping a little bit towards the end of the season, but equally, actually, at the same point, at the same time, it's a missed opportunity, given that Aston Villa and Chelsea both lost their games this weekend. This was a chance for them to try and get themselves a foothold in it.
Yeah, and they would have seen that as well, seeing Chelsea lose yesterday. Obviously, it would have come through that Aston Villa lost again today. It's massively disappointing for them today. You know, the way they went about it, and obviously they got themselves 1-0 ahead, and, you know, all signs were there that they would come back out and get the second goal. But you've got to do things in the right way, in the right manner. And if you don't get that second goal, like Jamie said, you see out the game and win 1-0. But Tottenham were very good in the second half. And I think Liverpool allowed them to be very good with the defensive frailties that Liverpool actually showed. The goal in itself, there's so many errors there. Szoboszlai's way out of position. Vicario's taking a long free kick and you're standing way out. You need to be tucked back inside. You know, the header as well from Robertson, then Van Dijk, and then it just mounts up. Joe Gomez and obviously Richarlison coming back here as an Everton player as well. You know, for him, it was a fantastic day. But like we say, Liverpool are always going to be in this Champions League race, and they're always going to be there. But they've got to start turning things into positivity, and the consistency they've been showing is far too often. It's now they need to be at the back end of this season, last 8 or 9 games, to get points on the table, to get themselves looking further up. When they get opportunities like this with Chelsea losing, Aston Villa losing, you've got to take that, and today they just didn't.
There are moments, and there was a moment for Dominic Szoboszlai when he scored the free kick. We've seen him do that so many times. This is 4th of the season, Jamie.
Yeah, and we said at half-time, Kelly, you know, he's becoming a master. He's got this beautiful technique. It's sort of like top spin, he gets on it and it's dipping. This one, I just can't help but look at the goalkeeper. He takes his step, his foot pattern is wrong, almost like a negative step to start. He takes a little one there, then another little one, instead of making one big step, and it's just completely wrong. If you see someone trying to do the high jump, they're not going to go small steps, are they? They're going to go big steps to get you that trajectory so you can get up and reach for it. He doesn't do that. But I will also say, and as he's been poor, he made an unbelievable save, I think, from Gakpo to keep his side in it. You know, he just poured big moment. So, in fairness to him, he reacted well and kept his side in the game when he needed him.
Yeah, Vicario does not have a good record in terms of trying to stop shots from outside the area. But for Dominic Szoboszlai, of the 16 that have been scored in the Premier League so far this season, he's got 4 of them, which is one short of David Beckham and Laurent Robert, who've got 5. And you know, there are a clutch of players who've got 4 goals direct from a free kick over the previous seasons. But it's gone really well for Dominic Szoboszlai, at least in that side of the game.
Yeah, he's been Liverpool's best player by an absolute mile, Kelly.
But we should also say that he's conceded, Vicario, 11 goals from outside the box, and the next highest on there is 7. So we know that he's not strong from those long range efforts. What he has done is keep Spurs in the game at times, though, Jamie.
Absolutely, this is huge. This really was, because you felt at this point in the match, Liverpool go 2-0 up, could be 4, could be 5, because obviously they are so frail. But that is a brilliant save. It's unbelievable when you look at it from behind the goal, because he has to be strong, he has to be alive. His confidence is a bit low from the one that he conceded before. Liverpool work it well. And Gakpo doesn't take it, like, he just gets it out of his feet and strikes it. Look at this here, he's moving to his left. Then he takes that step there and just look at that. That's beautiful. That is an excellent save that's kept his side in the game, you know. And then you could talk about the ones that he hasn't made. When you're struggling, his confidence is low. He got obviously not playing in midweek. Then he comes out to come back onto the pitch. You need that, and they're going to need him to make a lot of saves like that before the end of the season, because as much as it's a good point, Spurs have still got an awful lot to do. They've won 2 home games. And you start to think, well, OK, the home games, they've got, you know, Nottingham Forest at home. They've beaten Brentford and Burnley this season. They've got to try and find some ways to get some home form going. Otherwise, they're still banging trouble. And
just to go back to Dominic Szoboszlai's interview, he seemed at a loss to work out what the way to fix it was. He seemed at a loss to explain what was going wrong for Liverpool.
Well, defend better. The goal they gave away in his position, and for an experienced player, I know people say it's not his natural position. You can't be on the outside looking back in. You've got to get back in. You've got experienced defenders. Get back in. As you're 1-0 up, but we're under the cosh. We've already, throughout the season, conceded a lot of late goals. So take your 1-0 victory and you move on. So the goals, when players get interviewed afterwards, they say, well, if I knew the problem, we can see the problems. Defend better. Have more desire. Whether it be Robson with your headers, your 2 centre-halves, from a free kick from a goalkeeper. That's exactly where you've got to be tucked in. So have they lost that bit of... There's definitely something missing at Liverpool, obviously. They're way off it. Their performance today, you go 1-0 up, you're thinking, come on, Liverpool, no, this is your chance to flex your muscles. But there's definitely tension in the stadium. There's nervousness, there's something amiss with Liverpool, whether it be obviously the players, obviously issues with the manager, whatever, but recruitment, that's not really panned out the way they hoped. And there can be issues with that, obviously, and 1 or 2 injuries, like every other club out there. But Liverpool have got to have a good look in the mirror and say, listen, let's get back to that fight and desire that we had last year when we were scoring the late goals and winning these tight games. Now they're coming. Even we were here, what was it, a month or so ago against City, and they found a way to lose that, even though they had good chance in the second half. So, yeah, the players need to take responsibility, because the goal they gave away is schoolboy stuff.
And the manager to all keep together between now and the end of the season in order to get Tottenham out of the situation that they find themselves in. However, today they got a point at Anfield, they got the point at the home of the champions, and yet it was not a fluke. They deserved at least that from the game.
It dug deep. People have been poking fun at Spurs the last few months. It's been a difficult season from no doubt. But today they showed that fighting spirit. It was ugly sometimes. They went direct. The goal and the other chance came from direct play, probably unlike Tottenham. They showed a bit of spirit, fight and quality at the right time. To go goal down as well, you're thinking, we'll find out about these lads today. And I tell you, we have to give them credit today. They showed plenty of, as I said, fight and spirit and quality, deserved it. And towards the end, yeah, Liverpool obviously had 1 or 2 half chances. But we were sitting there going, Tottenham could even go on to win this later on. Big problems at Liverpool. There's something missing there. But for Tottenham to take a point, a bit of momentum. They have to get some momentum into their season. They're on the home straight now. Teams are running out of games. So that point will lift everyone, the supporters, obviously the manager, who's been heavily criticised. Big lift for everyone at Spurs today. And another big few games coming up, obviously.
And as much as it felt as though Spurs were going to get back into the game, it definitely felt as though Richarlison was the man who was going to do it.
Absolutely, Kelly. You know, all game he was a thorn in their side. Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk really struggled with him. They had a bit of physicality, but what we've seen today is they might have fallen on system here with 2 strikers, 2 up front. You can see with Solanke there at the back post with Richarlison. They're a handful. They've got physicality. They were powerful. Corners were coming in or free kicks. They went direct. You could hit them. You could see Solanke bumps into Gomez there. Virgil van Dijk now has got a problem. And that happened time and time again. As Roy rightly says, it wasn't pretty, but they had opportunities and they were just always there. You can see they land on this second ball here, he gets his strike away. And it just became uncomfortable for Liverpool. The longer it went on, you felt that they would get something. Jamie Carragher said it perfectly. They were sleepwalking into this Liverpool, but you also have to credit them. You can see here, just gamble Kolo Muani at the back post. Richarlison doesn't quite get on the end of that. And then they obviously get the goal, which is one direct ball. Kolo Muani wins it. You shouldn't be able to do this. Look, 3 touches he takes here. 1, 2, 3. Joe Gomez gets dragged across and Richarlison, Szoboszlai doesn't tuck in. I think if he doesn't strike it, because he scuffs it, I think that's why it goes in, Ashley.
Yeah, of course it does. You know, when he gets set up here by Kolo Muani, if he hits it well, I think he could go past the post. But, you know, he's created that for himself. You know, today he's been a handful, like we've been saying. And you know what? This could be something that then turns the season around. But they've got to build on this again. They can't just sit back now. They've got to go into the next game and build on this, build on the momentum and take this into that next game. Like
yeah, it's only a good point, depending on what happens next,
it's
particularly against
point,
Nottingham Forest.
Though, Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on a run of 5 defeats. They've won 3 points from a last possible 30. Coming here today, I didn't give them a hope. I have to be honest. I looked at the team. I thought, how can this team get a result today? You know, they've been spineless in every aspect of playing football. But now it's going to be interesting. It's kept the manager because you'd have had all that turmoil. I think if they'd have lost today, they'd have had to get rid of Igor Tudor. Right, who do we bring in? Is that going to actually change what we're doing right now? They've got 2 huge games, Atletico Madrid and then Nottingham Forest at home. Now, can you somehow get some points to keep yourself and get yourself out of this horrendous predicament they've found themselves in? So it will be interesting. Does he stick to the same 2 centre-backs? Does he bring Romero back in and Van de Ven, who have been awful lately? They haven't really shown a lot of quality. I think ill-discipline hasn't helped. So he's got a few decisions to make. But one thing for sure I would do is keep those 2 strikers. Platform, Roy, didn't it?
And it gave an outlet for players, and Liverpool struggled to deal with it. And generally Spurs, you always think a bit, you know, there's a softness to them. But that physicality, the 2 players up front were huge. Huge bonus today for Spurs. And it was an outlet. They were knocking people over. And between now and the end of the season, but then battles they have every week. Forest, their next league game. Huge.